What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got an excellent duel for you guys to check out. This happened on the live stream yesterday, last night, or I guess technically today. I'm not really sure how to classify it. I just stopped streaming maybe 35 minutes ago. But anyways, this duel could not be more perfectly timed because it deals exactly with what we were talking about yesterday in the video, talking about is Maxx C still worth main decking and Pot of Desires versus going first, going second, the effectiveness of that card and being able to make easy +1s. And this duel actually kind of contradicts some of the points that I was making in yesterday's video, but at the same time, it kind of furthers some of the points that I was making. And I was never trying to say like Maxx C was a bad card or anything like that. I was just questioning, do you still feel like you have to run it in the main deck, with the odds saying that you're probably like I didn't like the percentage numbers anymore. You know, I was always looking for that 33% or higher, and with it being at 23%, I was like, I don't know, man, maybe I should just put it in a side deck, run some other cards. But this is a duel that kind of shows, you know, when you do open with those Maxx Cs, well, for starters, that you still will open with Maxx C occasionally. And when you do, maybe you'd be just better off with the Maxx C versus the other two cards that you may have just taken the Maxx C out for. A lot of people were saying in yesterday's video that they thought that the perfect number of Maxx Cs was 2. I still just don't agree with that. I think the perfect number was 3. And if we could play 3 right now, I'd play 3 because it's too many decks like DDDs and burning of it. Like when they go off, like just wait until you see when DDDs come out and ABCs, like when these decks go off and they make these ridiculous overwhelming fields, man, like you're probably gonna wish you had that third Maxx C. But I mean, obviously that is no longer here nor there. But I want you guys to watch this duel because it really does relate perfectly into what I was talking about yesterday. And again, some of my points are actually hurt by this video, and some of my points are actually further made by this video. All right, so I am playing my Utopia deck, and my opponent Pizza Salad is playing Mass Heroes, a variant. And I believe that I go first. For starters, you guys can see that I opened up with Pot of Desires. So, you know, I was talking about how Pot of Desires makes it a lot easier for you to get that simple +1, and it kind of it decreases the neg that you take when going first. And then I actually opened with Maxx C as well. And I honestly, maybe I did make it seem in the video yesterday like you would never open with you know, Maxx C if you're only running 2 copies. But I mean, even if the probability numbers say that it's not as high as we would like it to be, it doesn't mean that you're not going to open with Maxx C. I probably should have presented that in yesterday's video. There will be times that you open with Maxx C and that maybe the Maxx C would be far better than those other cards that maybe you took Maxx C out for. And actually, this is a duel that perfectly demonstrates that. So you see I open with Pot of Desires, and if you look at my hand here, it is absolutely garbage. And this is like, man, going first, not looking so good. I mean, we've got 3 rank up spells. I can't use any of them. I've got double hand traps. Yeah, basically I just took out my Maxx C for a copy of Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit, and I also can't rank 4. Basically in this deck, you want to be able to rank 4 every opening, like every turn 1, you want to be able to rank 4. Ideally, you want to be able to rank 4 a couple of times, but I don't have a rank 4 play, and I've got 3 rank up cards. But I mean, I don't know. It looks pretty bad here, so we'll see what happens. He goes 10 Goldfish. I immediately Maxx C, and this is going to be the part of the video where a lot of people were talking about, you know, you should only, like, I think that a lot of times if you get Maxx C, you should probably stop unless A, you can just kill your opponent, you can just OTK them, or B, you can make a board that's so good and so uncrackable that it doesn't really matter how many cards they have. Like, somebody made a really good comment in yesterday's video. They said that the plays that Blue Eyes can do with 12 cards are basically the same plays that the deck can do with 6 cards, and that's pretty much true because even if you have 40 cards in your hand, you can only summon 1 alternative dragon. So you know what I mean? Like Blue Eyes is not a deck that, like, having an infinite amount of cards really helps the deck that much, in my opinion. So I do think that the Maxx C definitely saved me. So you see here, he tries to activate Shadow Mist's effect. I go ahead and I just hit it with Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit. Now, he went for the Bahamut Shark Trito play, but look how many cards he gave me in my hand, right? So he literally took a hand that was absolute Brick City. You guys saw it. And he gave me another level 4, which I can, you know, use to summon Star Drawing. He gave me some spell and trap removal with Twin Twister, and he gave me an instant fusion too. So he actually gave me a lot of cards. In addition, he gave me a Solemn Strike. So let's see exactly what happens here. So I end up top decking another Pot of Desires, and I immediately play it. I was trying to actually bait him out, and I was debating if I should actually play it. Look how many cards I have in my hand now, by the way. I was actually technically hoping he would negate so I could just Twin Twister and I could kind of go off, but he does end up letting me draw the cards. And this is kind of one of the points that I want to make about Pot of Desires, and everybody, even a lot of Yugi tubers, still have this notion of, oh my god, I have to banish a card. Like, no, you don't really care if it gets you the cards that you want. Like, if it gets you, not even that, if it just gets you cards that further extend your play, like, those cards don't matter. And I'll prove that point later, but let's see what happens here. Let me stop pausing. So I go 10 Goldfish, he hits that with Solemn. I then play Twin Twister, trying to bait out his Treat Toad. He takes the bait, and then I instant fusion. He takes my Twin Twister, but I'm like, bro, I don't even care about that. Unless you have another Solemn, I think I'm going to wreck you. And if you have two Solemns, then I'm just not, I was going to lose anyways. So I go Norden, get my 10 Goldfish, special Hat Tricker. I go for my Utopia. This is like the sickest play. So I rank up using Barion's Force. And by the way, when you use Barion's Force, if it's, you see how his Bahamut Shark had an XC material on it, I end up taking his XC material. So this means even if this doesn't go through, he won't be able to summon another, like he won't be able to summon that same Treat Toad back, which is why I use Barion's Force right here. And I end up summoning Utopia Ray V. This card's basically like a Volcasaurus, so I get to blow up his Bahamut Shark, and then I rank up again, or it's technically not a rank up, but I discard my Numeron Force, I go into Utopic Dragon, and what that allows me to do is get my Utopia back, and then summon a Utopia the Lightning, and then just end up pushing for game. Let me pause so I can still show you some things in the duel. Now, the reason that I say like a card like Pot of Desires is still so good, and people need to like not really hone in on the whole, you know, you get to banish like 10, or you have to banish 10 cards. Like, even though, look, I only had 6 cards left in my deck. Sorry about that. Kind of had to restart everything and run it back because on Yugioh Pro, when the replay ends, you can't kind of mess with the field and look at your deck and your graveyard, etc., etc. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about Pot of Desires and how people are too focused on that drawback of, you know, banishing face down cards, like banishing a quarter of your deck, because you just see in this duel it just didn't matter at all. I activated both copies of Pot of Desires, and in a deck where you basically can run 3 of everything, I just really don't think that it matters. Like, if you look at all the cards that I banished, so I banished all 3 copies of my XC Change Tactics, which is like kind of the whole reason that I built this deck. I banished my Regeki, I banished I banished 2 copies of my 3 instant fusions, but it didn't matter because I got to activate 1 of them, which is all you really need out of a card like instant fusion. I banished my Bottomless Trap Hole and so many good other monsters. I banished both of my Summoner Monk. None of this mattered because in the end I was still able to get the cards that I needed and make the good plays. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel like in the game when most of the good cards that these decks run are not really limited, like, it just really doesn't matter. Like, how many great limited cards are there that we really play anyways? Like, okay, Regeki, Solemn Warning, like everything else, maybe Soul Charge, like everything else is at 3 anyways. Like, Solemn Strike is at 3, Instant Fusion's at 3, like all of these power cards, Twin Twister, like they're all at 3 anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. And even though you do have to banish a quarter of your deck, I mean, like this duel, maybe you have to banish half of your deck, it honestly doesn't really make that big of a difference if you can mount your opponent and win. So many people kind of look at the downside of Pot of Desires. Oh, I don't want to banish 10 cards for just 2 cards. When you say just 2 cards, you have to understand how many cards in the game allow you to just go +1 that instantly and let you just draw 2 cards. Like, the only ones that I can think of that can let you do that or more are cards like Card of Demise, which everybody wanted limited or banned anyways, you know, Pantheism, which just got limited, and then a whole bunch of other cards that are basically already banned, things like Pot of Greed and, you know, what's it called, Pot of Avarice. So it's like, why even bring those up when they're banned? So this is just an interesting duel, guys. I think I took away from this that Maxx C at 2 is still definitely good. I still would definitely play 3 if I could, but I don't know. It can still save you in those duels when you did open with it, and I'm glad that I had Maxx C in my hand instead of something else, which may have had minimal impact because this guy kept going, and because of that Maxx C, I was basically able to like get back in the duel, and Pot of Desires is just a stupid good, fantastic card. And even, I don't know, maybe even I changed my mind about the whole going first thing, because you saw I went first and I basically had brick fucking city. So going first didn't help me out at all. You know what I mean? I could have went second and basically did the same exact thing. I would have been in actually a better position because I would have drawn a card in addition to, you know, the cards that I had. So let me know what you guys think. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you hadn't already.